Good morning, Woodside High School students and faculty. My name is Matthew Uenking, and I'm a PhD student studying industrial organizational psychology at Liberty University. I am privileged to be here to discuss the beginnings of the research process, especially since Woodside High School is my alma mater. I want to thank the administration for having me here today and discuss my own perspective on the research process. As previously stated, the main reason I am here today is to discuss research at the university level. The research example within this presentation will take strong influence from my own work at Liberty and will simply be a slight variation based on demographic of interest. I want to open with three main questions that you all as students should consider as we progress through this presentation and overall as you get closer to the end of the academic year and ultimately towards graduation. The first question is, does type of motivation influence your individual coursework? Secondly, does the final grade matter more than the knowledge that is acquired from the learning process? And finally, how important is your high school grade point average to you? In my own work at Liberty University, specifically in my own research proposal that will be submitted, the topic of interest is motivation. Now, the construct of motivation is of personal interest due to how applicable it is in the success or failure of students in academic coursework. Two of the foundational researchers who have studied motivation are Richard Ryan and Edward Deci. In their published work in 2000, they open up their article with a line that aptly describes motivation, in which they state, "To be motivated means to be moved to do something." Motivation may be examined in two main types, intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is exemplified in doing something because it is inherently enjoyable or interesting. Extrinsic motivation is doing something because it leads to a separable outcome. Now that I have a research topic of interest, we can begin to build the foundations. I would like to first start with the research question and the corresponding hypotheses. Some of you may be familiar with these concepts, especially given the high quality of teachers that are here teaching at Woodside. The research question is, does motivation type influence high school student academic performance as reflected in overall GPA? The null hypothesis is that there will be no statistically significant difference in overall GPA between students who are intrinsically motivated and those students who are extrinsically motivated. Alternatively, in the alternative hypothesis, it is that there will be a statistically significant difference in overall GPA between students who are intrinsically motivated and those students who are extrinsically motivated. Now we will touch on the topic of measures and variables. To gauge the intrinsic and extrinsic motivational type in high school students, we will rely on the measure of the Motivated Strategies for Learning questionnaire, also known as the MSLQ, which comes from the work of Pintrick and DeGroot. Our independent variable is participant scores on the MSLQ, and our dependent variable is GPA. We now have our research question, our hypotheses, our measure, and our variables, but a question remains. How could we investigate if a relationship exists between our independent variable and dependent variable? One of the ways to answer this question is reflected in conducting a Pearson's correlation coefficient, also known as R, which is defined as a standardized measure of relationship between two variables according to field. While there's a lot more that could be discussed about the research process, I want to leave you all with 4 personal self-discoveries. First, research and data analysis are complex fields, but they present rewards both to the individual and society. Secondly, if you are to attend a university or community college, the world of research will become clearer. Third, regardless of your ambition, motivation will be a key factor to the pursuit of your own individual goals and aspirations. And finally, take time to find out what interests you and how that interest may be explored as you begin to apply for colleges. Thank you for your time today, and I wish you luck in the future.